Hello everyone, myself Dr. Rajiv Kumar, Assistant Professor, MBA Agribusiness, Institute of Management Studies, will be presenting on course paper named Rural Marketing Principles, Strategies and Practices. This is lecture 1 and for the week 3. The lecture 1 is related with rural consumer behavior and its fundamental. And its learning objective will be, by end of this lecture, you will able to understand the fundamental of consumer behavior and its relevance to the rural market. Secondly, growth and purchasing pattern of rural consumers. And last, for this lecture, one will able to understand social and cultural influence on consumer decision making. So, the first lecture is going to be dedicated toward the background of consumer behavior in relation with rural market. So, first we are going to start with introduction of consumer behavior. I will start this lecture with a question that how many times do you make decision throughout the day? What should I wear today? What perfume should I put on? What I am going to have for lunch? If you think about it, we make many buying decisions every day without giving them much thought. I mean to say that every day, every individual makes many decisions related with the product of services. Before moving ahead, I just want to quote one theory which is led by socialist Thorstein Veblen, who talked about consumerism and consumption. And it takes place in 1999. He said that the concept of consumerism and consumption in his influential book, The Theory of Leisure Class. And he said that the idea that the people often purchase goods not only for their functional use but to display wealth, status or social prestige. So this sociologist Veblen focus that the individual not only buy the product and services for their own personal use, but he or she buys this to show regarding this status, regarding this income to the society also. Consumerism. He said that consumerism refers to the social and economic order that encourages the acquisition of goods and services in ever increasing amount. And he focused on the idea that individual success and happiness are tied to material possession, often leading to believe that more consumption equal greater fulfillment. And on the other hand, consumption is the act of using goods and services to satisfy need and want. So these two words, consumerism and consumptions, which is led by this Veblen in 1899, played very important role in evolution of this consumer behavior. So in summary, consumerism promotes the ideology of continual purchasing and material accumulation, while consumption is a practical act of using this product or the services. So for any marketer, one has to understand what this consumerism conspicuous mean. And I will just request to all the stakeholders to go by the book, which is written by Thorstein Veblen. Next, by this we can understand that consumer behavior is an integral part of human behavior. So human behavior is a broad word. Okay, how this human behave toward any situation. So under this, he behave, his mind say something or his decision say something to go against any product or the services. Consumer behavior is reflected from awareness about product and it goes to post-product, post-purchase evaluation. Consumer behavior is a complex, dynamic, multi-dimensional process, and all marketing decisions are based on the assumption about consumer behavior. So, if you see this, it is a complex, it is multi-dimensional, and all the marketing decisions, big business hubs take marketing decisions on the basis of consumer behavior. Why it is complex? As I told you before, that we make many decisions in a day. We switch the brand very frequently. We are not living in an era of production concept, where there is a concept called production, which means that the company create the product and distribute widely. But in this era, this is possible? No way. Where consumer thinks so fast and he or she has lot of opportunities, lot of options, they shift by this brand every day, every minute, we can say that. Or they change their decision every minute and in every day also. That's why this consumer behavior study become very complex. And why it is multidimensional? Multidimensional means that it undertakes various disciplines also for their study. It is coming from psychology. We study the human mind. What is psychology? Some mental process. Consumer behavior is a mental, you can say that mental process, or where this brain act as a black box, where all this process take place. That's why it is a multi-dimensional process. Very important thing by this, what I have said, that for every business, this understanding the consumer become very important. In this, you will find out two important words, customer and consumer, and third word is marketer. So before moving ahead, I will just let you know what is this, the meaning of these three words. The first one is customer. Whether this customer and consumer are same word? No. Customer are those individuals who make a purchase, but may or may not they are going to use that product or the services. For example, say a mother buy a toy for her child. So whether the mother is going to play with the toy? No. So mother here is customer because she is making a purchase decision. Whereas the child who is playing with the toy is going to be the consumer because ultimately he is consuming or he is ultimate user of that particular product. So there is a difference between this customer and the consumer. But many times an individual is going to be both customer and consumer. How? One day you go to this one restaurant and order for the pizza. And you are the only one who is going to eat the pizza. So what customer says? The person who is going to make a purchasing decision or paying for that particular product or services. So you are paying for the pizza, so you are going to be the customer. But many times it happens that you are purchasing that pizza for other person to use it. In that case, you are going to be the only customer, not the consumer. So there is a difference between customer and the consumers. The next word that is I used is marketer. A marketer is a person or the business that promote and sell product or services to the customer. Their main goal is to understand consumer need, create demand and ensure product reach to the right audience effectively. So what marketer do? Marketer is responsible and accountable for planning, organizing, making awareness about this product and the services to the target audience. Next thing is, what do marketer do? Marketer perform various tasks to attract and retain customers, which include market research, product development, advertisement and promotion, sales strategy, branding, customer engagement, to name a few. As I said, he is the responsible person who is responsible for doing research. Why research? Until and unless we don't do research, who is going to be my target audience, who is going to be buy my product, and where they are going to buy my product, how many persons are there who are going to buy my product, that is known as target audience, we are not going to be successful in this any market. And we are going to this branding our product and services. We are going to develop our product. We are going to test our product before launching this to the target audience. We are going to use the promotional tool to create awareness in the target audience. So there are n numbers of parameters that marketer do in his company. I have taken one example of the marketer, that a digital marketer promoting a new smartphone through social media ads and influencer collaboration to reach tech-savvy consumer. See here, there is a smartphone that is created by this company. So, for the company, for the marketer, it is going to decide that through research that who are going to be his or her target audience. Who is going to buy this? They have to target those persons who are very fond of technology, who has this money for that smartphone, who are very aware about this, you can say, the digital world. So, the marketer has to develop those strategies to move ahead. Secondly, rural consumer on the growth track. In this lecture or in this course, as it is related with rural marketing, we will talk about this marketing and its concept in contrast with rural. So we have to understand what do you mean by rural, what it implies. Different researchers, what they say about this rural. So it is not having the same meaning. See, rural refers to the area characteristics of the countryside rather than town or cities. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, it pertains to the regions in, of, or like the countryside. Similarly, the Collins-Cobilt Dictionary 2001 defines rural as place far away from town and cities. These are typically features low population density, open landscape and economies centered around agriculture or natural resources. So by this one can understand that what characteristics that urban have, rural don't have. These are those areas which is far away from the urban. They have very less density of the population. They generally reside on the agriculture. As per the Census of India 2001, denies rural as that what is not urban. And urban is all location within a municipal corporation, cantonment board or a notified town area committee, who has a minimum population of 5,000. At least 75% of male workforce engaged in non-agricultural activities and a population density of over 400 persons per square kilometer. So, if any city or any location is having this characteristics, that is not going to be a rural areas, that is going to be the urban areas. Next, why I have taken this rural background, why the study on this rural area is very important. I will just let you know about some facts. According to the many researches, 65% of Indian population, 56% of income, 64% of its expenditure and 33% of this saving come from this rural India. The rural market now accounts for 54% of all Indian FMCG sales, 59% of this durable sales, 100% of agri input sales, including tractors, other input companies, and 10% to 50% of two-wheelers and four-wheeler sales. According to the World Bank, they have said that maximum area reside in the rural background, rural population. What it implies? India is having the population of 140 to 145 crore people. So, around 65%, one can understand, reside in the rural area. So the business can understand that big market waits for them in the rural background. Rising purchasing power. Rural per capita spending increased by 9.2% in 2024, outpacing the 8.3% growth in urban areas, indicating enhanced financial capacity among rural consumers. Shift toward non-food expenditures. They accounted for 53% of this per capita spending in rural area in 2004, which is gone up from 47% in 2011-12, reflecting evolving consumption pattern. The average fast-moving consumer goods basket size in rural India grew from 60% from 5.8 in 2002 to 9.3% in 2024. This is given by Financial Express 2024. And when we talk about this digital adoption, 42% of active internet users in rural area engaged in digital payment and 23% participated in e-commerce activity in 2024. So what I mean to say, this all data shows that this rural market is still untapped as compared to this urban market. Business is now has to show their capacity or build their strategies to untap this rural market as per this data showed. So, by discussing all this data, all this important information, this shows that the consumer behavior study becomes very important. That's why it is rapidly growing discipline of the study. It means more than just how a person buys products. And as I told you, it is a complex and multi-dimensional process and reflects the totality of consumer decision with respect to acquisition, consumption, disposal and activity. So this consumer behavior is not only related with acquisitions, that an individual come and buy the product. No. It deals with the whole process where this starts from acquisition of the product and services and goes to the finally disposal of the product and services. This whole process will lead to the study of consumer behavior. And very, very important thing, this study also include the effort that is coming from individual in the terms of time, in the terms of effort, in the terms of money that the customers invest in buying product and the services. So ultimately, we are investing three important parameters for purchasing of the product and services: time, money and effort. And for the study of this consumer behavior, one has to answer many questions, that what they buy, why they buy it, when they buy it, where they buy it, how often they buy it and how often they use it. These are 6 questions that has to be answered by marketer, and accordingly they should make strategies to untap the rural market. Why an individual make a purchase? Where they make a purchase? How they make a purchase? How often they use it? This is all questions then marketers should address in a very significantly manner. Next, one has to understand what is the need of studying this rural consumer behavior. Get to know why there is a need for studying this consumer behavior, because rural market are no longer just an afterthought for businesses. They represent a huge opportunity for growth. With increasing purchasing power, changing lifestyle and digital adoption, understanding rural consumer is now more critical to this study. Firstly, huge market potential. As I told you, 65% population comes from this rural background. No questions. Huge market is still untapped. That's why we have to study consumer behavior in context with rural. Increasing purchasing power. With the rise of infrastructure, with the rise of digital platforms, the individual residing in rural area is not still the same as they were in this 1960s and 70s. No, they have gone through significant changes from that era to this era. Unique buying pattern. See, what the pattern that urban adopts, may or may not be different in this rural context also. They can be various other parameters like trust, affordability, word of mouth recommendation, unlike urban area, consumers who rely more on this advertisement. Price sensitive and value for money. Since rural buyers are highly price conscious because their income is not so as compared to the urban, businesses need to offer products that provide affordability without compressing qualities. So there is a difference between this urban and rural areas on the basis of income, on the basis of standard of living, on the basis of education, on the basis of occupations. There's very difference between this urban and rural market. That's why the study of consumer behavior becomes very important. Influence of committee and opinion leader. Unlike this urban consumers, rural buyers depend on local shopkeepers, family members, committee leaders who are deciding what to buy. Growing digital engagement with increased smartphone users and internet penetration, digital marketing and e-commerce are playing a bigger role in rural shopping habits. We all come from rural background. We can correlate that how our family become very important. Though this nuclear family is going to be practiced in this urban area more as compared to rural areas, the importance of family in rural background become very important. How we respect our neighbors, how we collaboratively work with this for any product and services. Digital platforms, yes, the rise of technology. The farmers are using more technology as they were using in this 1990s and 1980s. That is not the question. The time has changed. Brand loyalty and trust. Rural consumers take time to accept a new brand. But once they do, they remain highly loyal. Building trust is a key to long-term success. Challenge is distribution and availability. Studying rural consumer behavior helps businesses to understand how to reach remote area effectively with the right place supply chain strategies. This means that the promotional tool that we are using in the urban market is not going to be the same as we are going to apply in the rural market. The urban areas are highly populated. They have no time to get involved in these platforms. So for the marketer, it becomes very important to disseminate this information at every platform, whether it is social media, whether it is online stores, whether it is offline stores. Content creators are not playing very important, but rural areas, this is lacking. So their promotional tool is going to be very different, and it will come by studying the consumer behavior. Seasonal income and spending pattern. Many rural consumers have seasonal income, which means that their spending habit fluctuates throughout the year. Businesses must time their sales and promote accordingly, and ensuring long-term growth. As rural market expand, businesses that understand rural consumer behavior will gain a competitive advantage and sustain long-term profitability. So overall, as I told you, these are all the factors that led to why a marketer should study the consumer behavior. Next, there is three important parameters I have used in this slide that is need to be understood by the marketers to understand their target audience. Need, want and demand for rural consumers. Understanding need, want and demand is essential for businesses targeting rural consumers. These three concepts of marketing help marketers identify what product or services will succeed in the rural market. Then what is need? Need is something essential for survival of daily life. It arises naturally and not created by marketing. Need, the basic need. Maslow, he is a researcher who has given 5 hierarchy of need. He said that the first thing, basic need. We can't survive without water. We can't survive without food. We can't survive without shelter. There are some basic need. So we have to understand this need is basic requirement. The marketer has to understand the basic need. What is want? A want is how people choose to fulfill their need based on personal preference, lifestyle and available choices. Want are shaped by cultural environment and marketing. For example, say a farmer wants a specific brand of fertilizer instead of generic one. A rural family may want a gas stove instead of traditional wood-fired store for convenience. And what is demand? Demand is willingness plus ability to pay. A demand occurs when a person not only wants a product but also has the ability to pay. For example, say a rural household may want a refrigerator but they can't afford it. There is no demand. However, if affordable financial options are provided, demand increases. So these three things, need, want and demand, they are different things, again, has to understand by the marketer to cater this target audience residing in the rural market. The last thing that I want to discuss in this lecture 1, what are the role played by rural consumer in decision making process? If you see this, there are 6 roles: initiator, influencer, gatekeeper, decider, buyer and user. Take an example of a family. If there is a family having the member of 10 people, someone who is going to play this role of initiator, the person who first suggests or think of buying a product. Some person is going to play the role of influencer, the person who influences the buying decision through opinion, advice or the expertise. Someone is going to play gatekeeper, the person who control information, access or budget for the purchase. Decider, the person who decides the purchasing decision. Buyer, the person who physically goes to market and purchase the product, and the user who is going to be the ultimate user of that product and the services. So by understanding this in a family, there are different roles. A marketer can make the strategy to target their audience. So in conclusion, understanding this role in consumer behavior help businesses develop better marketing strategies, improve product positioning and drive higher sales. This consumer behavior will help you to read the mind of the consumer. However, I am strongly in this agree that nobody is going to read the consumer mind because it is a black box. Nothing is going to see. But by his behavior, by his purchasing pattern, one can predict, one can forecast how he or she is going to behave, how he or she is going to buy a product in what manner. That is discussed in the previous slides. These are some activity questions. Think about questions based on today's lectures. Please go through it and place yourself before answering these answers. Thank you.